day, beautiful soul family, and welcome back to On Another Level. Today's reading, let's just get into it, okay? First, I have to say, I know your plans, I know what you're doing, and I forgive you. You know, it's one thing when a person knows what another person's doing. Divine Spirit shows me in so many different ways. And the thing about it is, what do you do as you are in the midst of knowing what is about to take place? You see, the thing about it is that the people are so used to doing things in the hidden, so used to feeling like what they're doing is unknown. They will get so excited, and they will send you messages. You know, as I stated, they don't do anything new. You know, they're only following after what has been done. They mimic their pawns. And so the sad part is that Divine Spirit will give you information through visions, through dreams. This is why when we are, this is why Divine Spirit was talking to me about lapping the water. Lapping the water just means staying aware. Understanding what cycles and seasons we truly are in, and not being surprised, not being phased, not being duped. Divine Spirit is telling me, look, we're in the spirit of the Antichrist, but the Antichrist is on the scene. And sadly enough, the people that worship, these are the people that are hidden and behind the scenes, and their communities know who the Antichrist is. And so what's so interesting is right now, they are at a point of peace, quote unquote, whatever they can determine as being a peace. They are at rest. There are calmness. You see, Divine Spirit shows me about the way patterns go, equations and patterns. And so, or better yet, it's not the formulas, but it's about how it works together, like A plus B equals C. One person doing this, another person doing that is going to equal out an outcome. Divine Spirit shows over and over again when you go against Divine Spirit. When you go against the people, you're going against Divine Spirit. You have made your decision, and there comes consequences. And over the years, over the time of history, people who do harm try to avoid the consequences, but they end up burying themselves even the more. Right now, as there is going to be anguish, so much anguish, there will be a lot of anguish for humanity. And things are already in place. Divine Spirit is telling me, don't believe the hype. Let me make sure this is recording, get some water before I start reading. So I'm told, don't believe the hype. They know who the Antichrist is, and it's on the scene. And people are going accordingly to their role. They're playing out their role. And it will be the people that will surprise you. But their allegiance, their diligence has always been to one person. Has always been, I don't even want to call this a person, has been to the dragon and been to the beast. But they did this behind the scenes, and everything that they're doing behind the scenes will come to the forefront. I was listening to a sermon yesterday about trusting in Divine Spirit. Celebrating. When you ask, you immediately celebrate. You immediately say thank you. and how A child, when a child says, father or mother or both, I just can't do it anymore, and I need your help. When a child is in trouble, for those parents, especially really like a teenager or a preteen, and they come to you and they say, Mom, I can't do this on my own. Especially if they pushed you away for quite some time. You want to help out, but they just don't want your help. And then after a period of time, then they break down and they say, I need your help. Even though the parent is saddened, it's like music onto their ears, because they want to help their child. They want to help their children. And then when the child, preteen, or teenager, so on, so forth, when they celebrate, when they get excited because, okay, my father, my mother is on the scene. They're going to show out. They're going to do their very best. And there is relief. And the Divine Spirit loves that. Because our only refuge is in Divine Spirit. But sadly enough, the people of the world who know exactly what's going on, they know who the Antichrist is, they are in their calmness, they're in their rest. They are rest assured that all their plans is coming into full action. They really feel accomplished. They really feel like they're going to succeed, and they will succeed. They will succeed, but not the way they think they are. Because Divine Spirit, no one can pull a wool over Divine Spirit. For all those people who go within with self-love, self-care, self-nurture, and rebuild that connection to Divine Spirit and disconnect from the world, Divine Spirit is going to give you messages. Keep them to yourself. My purpose here is to bring forth messages, bring forth motivation, bring forth truth, whether you want to hear it or not. Divine Spirit is showing me a bunch of things about what's going to be happening to me. What's to expect. What's put into my hands. And this is why it's so important. See, when Divine Spirit shows you especially, it's important to have a healed heart. It's important because if you don't have a healed heart, you're going to continue a vicious cycle. You will look back and you will be stuck. You will wonder why they continue to do what they do. And this is not about simple things. This is all drastic things. This is some things that take quite some time, but they're busy. This is their purpose. They have traded in a blessed path with a template, hoping for success. Divine Spirit is telling me with this reading of this passage of Psalms chapter 31, where it says, a plea for protection. But first, what I saw here is give thanks in sorrow. Beautiful soul family, divine beings, there's going to be a lot of things that are going to take place. And you would think that Divine Spirit has left you. because you're taught. Divine Spirit is telling me that there are pastors who are leading their flock to the slaughter to save their own life. And you'd be surprised. Those that know exactly what's going on. Divine Spirit was showing me something about the ins and outs and how a person will feel and why they do certain things, say certain things, and to get a better understanding from their side of the view. But this person was run by fear. They were feeling, they were likened to Saul. Saul was about the people. Saul also had the truth. But he was more so for people than for God. And so he got himself wrapped up in all the issues of the people that he just wanted to appease the people. And we are to align ourselves with Divine Spirit. There are going to be people who, instead of giving thanks in the sorrow, there will be a falling away, a great falling away. There will be a great disturbance. Am I asking for these things to take place? No, these things are going to happen. And people are going to question drastically. There will be a ginormous falling away. People will be greatly disappointed. But Divine Spirit is saying, for those who truly love me, this Divine Spirit is bringing me to the Garden of Gethsemane, where Yeshua is praying. And Yeshua is so intensely praying, pass this cup before me. Is there another way? The thing about it is that there are going to be people doing this very same thing. There's got to be another way. There's got to be something else. What is going on? They're going to be crying out. Let's go to there, because here, let me put my little thing in here. Because in the Garden of Gethsemane, there was a plead. Yeshua was pleading. Yesterday, Divine Spirit was talking to me about Peter. You know, I used to be an Oracle, a tarot card reader. I'm still an Oracle, but the thing about it is, beautiful soul family, is that, you know, as we read the Bible, it goes back to how we see from different angles. Okay, and Divine Spirit was showing me about this person and what anguish they were going through. And they were going through conflicts because they themselves were hidden. And I'm not talking about me. The thing about it, beautiful soul family, is that Divine Spirit is showing, as an empath, you are able to see both sides. You are able to not only see it, but you're able to feel it. You're the one that really does travel a mile in a person's shoes. I talked about this in a reading where when a karmic or a host or someone who's trying to find the next move to what you're doing so that they can be there and lie and wait to put you in an accident, to put you in a point of sadness and grief, because they hunger for it. This is what they hunger for. This is what they await for. They don't see themselves in the mix. When they look into a person's future, they don't see themselves in the mix. They don't ever ask, well, how am I in the mix? Maybe they do now, but maybe they did it before. They were just wondering, what is in this person's future? What blessings are they going to have? And sadly enough, Divine Spirit is showing me a fortune teller or somebody, a reader, who wants to know too. So they're just as nosy because they don't like this person either. So they want to know. What are the blessings to come for this person? So then there's the energy of the one who's trying to do harm to this person. And then there's the reader who's putting their energy too. And it's all hungering to know what's the next step. How can we hold back this divine being? What answers can we get? But they don't ask the questions, where am I in this? What role am I playing? And what is my demise? What is my demise, What's going to happen to me when I do this and that? They're all looking into someone else's life, but they're not considering their own. Because if they considered their own, they wouldn't do the things that they're doing. Anyways, Divine Spirit is saying, in the same like manner as we look into the Bible, we come to the account of Peter. And they were at the Last Supper. And Peter was saying, I will not deny you. I couldn't deny you. So passionate, I could not ever deny you, Jesus, Yeshua. But that is exactly what happens. He says, yes, you are. And that's exactly what took place. The Pharisees, when they're in prayer, they're saying, thank you that I'm not like the tax collector. I do this and I do that and I do that. But none of that is with love. The tax collector went into prayer saying, I am a sinner and I need your mercy. Again, we're seeing from different sides of the view. Those that appear and those that are truly are. Those that appear to be doing the right things because they got this checkpoint, that checkpoint, and it's all traditional, it's all a flow, but there is no love and there is no true connection. And then there are people in the Bible who's, like I said, here we have the word. And there are people who are like, well, that was back then. If Jesus was here now, I wouldn't reject Jesus. But they reject the word. The very Bible. They reject it. There will be people that say, oh, I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to do that. And they don't realize that they are the very ones who will, and who will do that to the T. And that's why there's going to be a major falling away. And there's a major falling away because of its leaders who chose to be like King Saul. It is not to the people. We are in connection, but we are supposed to be aligned with Divine Spirit. And it's very difficult. I understand. Let me go to Matthew. It says the prayer in the garden. Then Jesus, this is Matthew chapter 26, verse 36. It says, then Jesus came with them to a place called Gethsemane, and he told the disciples, sit here while I go over there and pray. Taking along Peter and the two sons of Zebedee, he began to be sorrowful and troubled. He said to them, I am deeply grieved to the point of death. Remain here and stay awake with me. Going a little further, he fell face down and prayed, my Father, if it is possible, let this cup pass from me. Yet not as I will, but as you will. Then he came to the disciples and found them sleeping. He asked Peter, so couldn't you stay awake with me 1 hour? Stay awake and pray. Beautiful soul family. Divine Spirit is showing me, listen, stay awake and pray. Don't be caught up in the energy of, I wouldn't do that, I wouldn't do that. But pray in the hopes that we don't do such things. Pray that we don't be overcome by the illusions. Pray that we can endure to the end. Don't pray for money. Pray to be strong in the midst of sorrow. Pray for healing. I've channeled this message where we are to is about manifestations. And manifestations aren't always going to be about things that we can see. Setting the intentions for manifestations of healing, for encouragement, for joy, for peace when in the midst of dread, for answers, for insight, for guidance. He asked the two sons, Zebedee and Peter. And that's so interesting because with the sons of Zebedee, the mother came and was asking, are they going to be at your right hand side? Please choose them, right? But yet they were asleep. At the appointed time when Yeshua needed them, they went to sleep. And we may see this as just something that happened in the past, but it's Something's a cycle that is taking place again today. Are we asleep? Will we ourselves come to a point of rejecting Yeshua, rejecting God, rejecting the Holy Spirit because of fear? It says 41, verse 41, stay awake and pray so that you won't enter into temptation. The spirit is willing, but the flesh is weak. Again, a second time, he went away and prayed, my Father, if this cannot pass unless I drink it, your will be done. And he came again and found them sleeping, because they could not keep their eyes open. After leaving them, he went away again and prayed a third time. How many of us just pray once? Daniel prayed 21 days. How many of us pray and then look and then we don't see it? We go ahead and truly show some true colors and complain to God. You see, what type of God are you willing to worship? Is it a God where you get everything you want right then and there? God, Divine Spirit, is not a jinn. It's not a genie. Does not work with smoke screens and illusions. Divine Spirit doesn't deal in contracts. Here it says, after leaving them, he went away again and prayed third time, saying the same thing once more. Then he came to the disciples and said to them, are you still sleeping and resting? See, the time is near. The Son of Man is betrayed into the hands of sinners. Get up. Let's go. See, my betrayer is near. The whole time Yeshua knew about Judas. And still continued. Felt his energy and everything. Some things are not meant to change because of the roles that they play. That's why we have to choose our battles. Divine Spirit is saying, listen, stay awake and pray. Who are we praying to? We're praying to Divine Spirit. We're staying in tune with Divine Spirit. Yeshua himself prayed 3 times. The first prayer was, please pass this cup before me. Let not my will be done, but your will be done. Then the 2 other prayers were, if this is something that I need to drink, if it doesn't pass unless I drink it, your will be done. What I notice about Yeshua is also that he set the tone for us on how to be. And when we go into prayer, and certain things that we don't want to take place in our life are going to be. Paul, friends and family were telling him, do not go that route. Don't go that route because they wait and lie. They wait for your death. They're out there to kill you. Do not go that route. But he went because it's about preaching the word. And it's to the death. It's not to, oh my goodness, I'm in fear, I'm going to go in another direction. No, it's about these people need to hear about the word. These people need to be saved. These people need an opportunity of living, of being healed. And so even though there's dangers, even though they're warned, you say, let your will be done. How many of us are going to go into prayer over and over again in the midst of sorrow and still say, Divine Spirit, where are you? Are you saving us? I trust you, regardless. Nevertheless, let your will be done. Because there's going to be a great falling away. There's going to be a lot of people who are going to wonder where their quote-unquote God is. God is not worshiping us. We are to worship Divine Spirit. And certain things must take place. But it shouldn't riddle you. It shouldn't riddle your trust or your faith in Divine Spirit. Because at that appointed time in the Garden of Gethsemane, while Yeshua was praying, he could have fled for his life. After the first prayer. But the tone changed. Let not my will be done, but your be done. If this cup doesn't pass, and I must drink it. You see, first it was, can you please take this cup away from me? The next prayer, then he got up from his prayer, only to see that the very people, the two sons, where the mother was pleading for Yeshua to choose to be by his side, and Peter, they could not stay awake. How many people are we hoping that they do the right thing, but yet they choose to go to sleep? Because as he was praying, they should have been praying as well. They should have stayed awake and prayed. He was praying for 3 times, and 3 times this is what they did. It's something about the number 3, because it was 3 times that Peter denied Yeshua before the crowing of the rooster. There is betrayal taking place. As we read it here in the Bible, this stuff happened, yes, in the past, but these are the very things that will be happening again. There will be a major betrayal, and it will be someone that is amongst you, someone that you look up to, and you will be betrayed. And they will hand you over. Here it says, the Son of Man is betrayed into the hands of sinners. People that will lead the flock into the slaughter. So let's go back, because Yeshua says, stay awake and pray. Here it says, give thanks in sorrow. Psalms 31. highlighted here. It says, God doesn't ask us to silence our sorrow in favor of thanksgiving. True thanksgiving doesn't remove our sorrows. It acknowledges the coming glory that will take place. And as brought out earlier, it's about divine spirit. I can't do this. I need you. And upon asking, celebrating and being thankful, here is a prayer, a plea of protection brought out in Psalms 31. And it says, Lord, I seek refuge in you. Let me never be disgraced. Save me by your righteousness. Listen closely to me. Rescue me quickly. Be a rock of refuge for me, a mountain fortress to save me. For you are my rock and my fortress, and you lead and guide me for your name's sake. You will free me from the net that is secretly set for me. For you are my refuge. Divine Spirit is showing me people that should be in the midst of prayer, but they're in the midst of following. And because they're in the midst of following someone that they placed on a pedestal, they have fallen asleep. Verse 4, you will free me from the net that is secretly set for me, for you are my refuge. Exactly where do we place our refuge? Is it in divine spirit? Is it in the world? Is it in gurus or pastors or teachers that have decided to lead you to the slaughter? Into your hand I entrust my spirit. You have redeemed me, Lord, God of truth. I hate those who are devoted to worthless idols, but I trust in the Lord. I will rejoice and be glad in your faithful love, because you have seen my affliction. You know the troubles of my soul, and have not handed me over to the enemy. You see, there is that betrayal, being handed over to the enemy. The body of Christ, as Yeshua was, will be handed over to the enemy. You have set my feet in a spacious place. Be gracious to me, Lord, because I am in distress. My eyes are worn out from frustration, my whole being as well. Indeed, my life is consumed with grief, and my years with groaning. My strength has failed because of my iniquity, and my bones waste away. I am ridiculed by my adversaries, and even by my neighbors. I am dreaded by my acquaintances. Those who see me in the street run from me. I am forgotten, gone from memory, like a dead person, like broken pottery. I have heard the gossip of many. Terror is on every side. When they considered against me, when they conspired against me, they plotted to take my life. But I trust in you, Lord. I say you are my God. The course of my life is in your power. Rescue me from the power of my enemies and from my persecutors. Make your face shine on your servant. Save me by your faithful love. Lord, do not let me be disgraced when I call on you. Let the wicked be disgraced. Let them be quiet in Sheol. Let lying lips that arrogantly speak against the righteous in proud contempt be silenced. How great is your goodness, that you have stored up for those who fear you and accomplished in the sight of everyone. For those who take refuge in you, you hide them in protection of your presence. You conceal them in a shelter from human schemes, from quarrelsome tongues. Blessed be the Lord, for he has wondrously shown his faithful love to me in a city under siege. In my alarm I said, I am cut off from your sight. But you heard the sound of my pleading when I cried to you for help. Love the Lord, all his faithful ones. The Lord protects the loyal, but fully repays the arrogant. Be strong and let your heart be courageous, all you who put your hope in the Lord. And that is what I opened up to this morning. Psalms 31. A plea of protection, but then also gratitude. Not a plea of protection, waiting a little bit and then complaining. Not a plea of protection and then you wait a while, you don't see it, so then you go ahead and join the world. Or you only pray when the pastor prays, or you only pray when you're in the house, in the church. Yeshua, as brought out in Matthew, stated, stay awake and pray. Beautiful soul family, this is all that I have. Put your focus on the Lord, on God, the Almighty, Divine Spirit. Not the world and not its leaders, because you will be led astray. Have a beautiful and wonderful day. Namaste.